So I don't know Andrew Tate personally, and actually had never even heard of him until the big debacle with Greta Thunberg. And I certainly don't mean to add anything else to what's going on because, like I say, I have no stake in the game, and I'm not here to simply just bring people down or anything of that nature. But what it brings up is the idea, the shift or the change or the different levels of mindset. You have people, assumedly of Andrew Tate's mindset, that are very much about material wealth, about material accumulation. I mean, if you have that many high performance vehicles, how many can you drive at one time? So, what is it really that you're feeding at the end of the day by having so many vehicles? And if that brings you joy, then that is great. But the question would be is if those vehicles were to go away, would you still be okay? Would you still be who you feel yourself to be right now in this moment? Because if you need something outside of yourself to validate you or to identify you or to make you something that you feel like you really are or achieve or really want to be, if that thing goes away, that material thing goes away, then guess what? You never were really that anyway. Because if you have to have that status or that situation or that dollar bill in your bank account or that job or that house or that car or that person or whatever it might be that you are using as a level to say this is who I am because I have this, then that is just a facade. That's all it is. It's really nothing that you are. So that's really what I feel like I want to get at with the work that I have with the angels and really with the idea of metaphysics, and that is to have an understanding that you are first and then things will magically pull to you. Not that you have to have these things and then that makes you anything outside of yourself, because the thing of it is, if those things are stripped away, then you no longer are that thing that you believe yourself or want yourself to be. And the true empowerment comes from when you are that, whether or not you have actual possession of whatever that thing is. And then if you go even further into the idea of really quantum physics and what exactly material is in the first place, and you understand it's just energy patterns. That's all it is. It's just atoms at the end of the day that have been put together in a certain way, in a certain combination, and that even those atoms are just simply quarks and all kinds of little magical things what we think of as magical today, and someday won't be magical anymore. But they're just like these energy components, these frequencies, these vibrations that have come together and decided to bond together to materialize into this material object. When you understand that that's all that is in the first place, there really isn't anything that you might have that anybody else can't have, or that anybody else has that you can't have, because it's all just energy waves and patterns and frequencies at the end of the day. So that is really what I would love for people to be able to take out of this story, is the idea of how that we now see that things are being taken away from Mr. Tate. And I don't know what's going to be happening for him in the future. I simply know at this point, the Twitter exchange between Mr. Tate and Greta went on fairly just a couple days ago. So I don't know what will eventually happen, or actually I think just yesterday. And so I don't know what is going to happen for him in the future, but I do know that it does seem as though now that he no longer has, at this point, his freedom because he's in a Romanian prison, but also that he doesn't have access to these vehicles and he doesn't have these other things that are completing him. What is he really at the end of the day? I mean, he still has notoriety, but is that really what he wants, really what he needs? They've done this study, and it's this idea that there's this collective consciousness, or really unconsciousness, built around what we believe other people want. And one of the main things that people believe that other people want is fame. But when you actually ask people what they really want, out of 67 factors, fame is number 67 out of their list of priorities. So we have this idea, or we've been told that fame is it. We see people on TV, we see people on the internet, we see people wherever we see them, in the paper. We think, oh, that's it. We see them on magazines, and having photographers taking all these photos of them at these famous places, and we think that's what I need to be so that I can be good like that, right? And it's just a construct. It's just something that is the story that you have been told over and over and over again. And what a belief is a thought that you continually are told or tell yourself. And stories can be the beginning of thoughts if you just take in that news, that energy, that story, without filtering it in any sort of way, or having some basis of saying, this is not the story that I really want to align with, or this isn't really a thought that I want, and maybe I'll change the channel, maybe I'll look at something different. So, because at the end of the day, everything that we do, everything that we think that we would like to have materially or situationally, is simply because we think we will feel better in the having of it. So it's all about the feeling at the end of the day. And the magical thing is that through coming conscious with yourself, and through meditating, and through understanding the true nature of yourself and the true nature of everything around you, you can have that feeling right now. So you can magically, instantly attain what you actually want in the moment, because you can have the feeling immediately. And the magic about our universe is that if you energetically become or feel the way that you want to feel, all those things that will make, or that are attached or align with that feeling, will magically just start coming to you. And guess what? A lot of those things that you thought would make you feel that way are probably not attached to that energy, and they probably won't come. Probably things that you hadn't expected, you hadn't thought about, would actually be the things that come in. This isn't about saying you can't have what you want. It's simply to find out, what is the motivation behind what I want? Because the old paradigm is to work your entire life. I've met so many people, because I'm of an older age, and I've met so many people that have worked 30 and 40 years somewhere so that they could achieve their dream of buying a Winnebago and then going traveling across the world. And usually what happens after you retire, as we know, you only usually live like 4 or 5 years. So these people worked for decades to be able to do or feel the way that they wanted to feel, right? They wanted to feel that freedom. They wanted to be able to have that movement. They wanted to be able to wake up and have that day be their day to do whatever they wanted to do. But when you spend decades being one thing, it's really hard to flip gears and become something else. So if you learn to be what it is that you really want and feel the way you really want at the very beginning, you won't go through all those decades of waiting for it to happen. You simply will be. And then the magic of the universe will fill in the details and fill in the situations that will match that, to where that is absolutely what is surrounding you. And that is really the work. The work is to access that feeling, to access that situation, or that situation yourself, to access that inner life, that inner world, that inner being, of being in that space without anything around to actually prove it so. And guess what that is? That's faith. That's what that is. So just want to put that little thing out there. Possibly I was going to use Mr. Tate as a teaser. Might as well. Everybody else is probably throwing in on the fame too. But that was really my thoughts on the situation that really came up for me, is the idea of, probably he has been surrounded by people that told him, yes, what you think is true greatness is true greatness, because I want what you have. I want the cars, and I want the notoriety, and I want the fame. Well, it's not really coming out too well for him right now, and who knows what the future has for him. But you can have all those things without having to become this other person, without having to become this persona that perhaps risks having the same type of situation happen to you. Because I have a feeling that Mr. Tate is going through some pretty rough times right now. So my heart really does go out to him. My heart goes out to him, and my heart goes out to anybody that is personally aligned with him. And I really want them to have joy at the end of the day. But it's going to be a matter of no longer mattering about the matter. That's what's going to happen. They're going to have to no longer associate or identify themselves with the physical situations, with the physical objects. in order to find who they truly are and understand that they're so much more than that, and that what they thought was the real thing that matter is so much less than it really, really is at the end of the day. So I hope that brings somebody peace. I hope that brings somebody hope. I'm actually knowing that it is helping you to understand who you truly are and what is truly possible for yourself. And love, peace, and release.